Countdown, it's on. Could jailed mother Casey Anthony be just hours away from walking out of a Florida jail? Casey's being held in jail on $500,000 bond, the only person of interest in her toddler daughter Caylee's disappearance. Now a bail bondsman and a bounty hunter have arrived in Florida to post Casey's bond. The bounty hunter will go on the record in moments, but first join us live is Jose Baez, Casey Anthony's lawyer. Welcome back to the show, Jose.
Thank you, Greta.
First of all, how's your client doing?
She's hanging in there. She's doing the best she can under the circumstances, and she's certainly excited of the possibility of getting out.
Now, you say the possibility of getting out. Is there any risk that the prosecutor is going to add a few more charges, raising the bond so that posting $500,000 bond isn't going to do it?
Well, if they're going to add the charges or increase them, our way of looking at it is, you know, what we want to do is, what could be a positive outcome of this is if they decide to file, obviously, more serious charges, we'd be forcing them to do something that they are not exactly ready to do yet. And any time you can get them to do something they don't want to do, it's certainly a wise move. And we're looking at that as a positive aspect of this.
All right. Obviously, that you're hinting around that they would seek the most serious charges, some of a murder charge or something. But short of that, one of the charges he's charged with is lying to investigators, and I take it that there's more than one investigator present when she allegedly lied, so they could trump it up that way. They could simply add another count of lying to investigators.
Well, they could. I think they would look rather silly in doing so, but I would certainly be ready to argue that that's part and parcel of the same offense, and it is a continuing transaction of the original offense. Therefore, I would strongly be arguing against that, and that's certainly something we're prepared to do.
All right, Jose, the million-dollar question. Your client says she has information about where her daughter is. Why isn't she helping the police?
That's a little incorrect, Greta.
Okay.
She has stated on numerous times she does not know where her daughter is. And if she did, I'm certain she would have told law enforcement or her family. I think her getting out can only be a positive thing, because I think it would allow, me to have certainly more access to her and open access to her, where I can actually speak to her frankly, and we don't have to worry about third parties listening in, and she can actually partake in part of the investigation and help finding Caylee. And I really only think that can only be a positive.
All right, I know from talking to your good lawyer, you're not going to betray your client's confidence and tell me any attorney-client relationship information. I'm confident in that, so I'm not going to ask it. However, let me ask you this. Has she given you information to suggest, or has she given you information that satisfies you why she didn't go to the police when the child first vanished?
She has, and I think when the facts come out, you're going to hear a very compelling reason as to why she acted in the way she did and why she made some of these statements that she made. And unfortunately, I have to save that for my opening statement. When everyone wants to know, it's not going to be in the court of public opinion, it's going to be in a court of law.
All right. Now, supposedly the mother, the grandmother of the child, on the 15th of July was told by your client that the child would be coming home the next day. Was that a lie?
I wasn't part of that conversation, and I haven't spoken to Miss Cindy Anthony about that, so I really can't comment on it. I'm not aware of that statement made by her.
Do you have an expectation as to when the money will be posted and the paperwork completed, and she will likely walk out the door, assuming that everything goes as planned?
Well, I would expect that to take place possibly within the next 24 hours. There is quite a bit of red tape because of this case's unique situation and some of the orders that were put in place. But we're ready to get through them, and we're ready to cut through that red tape and finally get her out. So maybe we can just get a little bit closer to finding Caylee, and that we're very excited about.
All right, Jose, I know that tomorrow's going to be pretty chaotic, and if she gets out tomorrow, will you come back tomorrow night?
I can't make any promises, but I'll certainly do my best. I think your show is a very informative one, and it's an objective one, and it's certainly one that we like appearing on.
Jose, thank you, and with luck on our side, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Greta. Have a good night.
Joining us live is bounty hunter Leonard Padilla. Welcome, Leonard.
Good evening, Greta. How are you?
And Leonard, just to satisfy all the viewers that are mad at me, you pronounce your last name Padilla, right? Not Padilla?
In English, it's Padilla, and if you were speaking in Spanish, I'd say Padilla.
All right. Well, okay.
For this show, it's Padilla.
Okay, great. All right. Are you ready to bail Casey out of jail?
In speaking to my nephew about an hour ago, it seems as though in the meeting with the attorney this afternoon, a lot of the details were worked out. As the attorney said and stated, it's a situation where there's a lot of red tape involved, and you have to take it a step at a time. And obviously, here we are, and he's ready.
Give me an idea what this red tape is, because typically what you do is you just show up and you give the bond and you sign the papers and it's a done deal. What's the red tape?
Well, there has to be notification. I don't know what the rules are, but what I understand, there has to be notification to the court clerk who notifies the investigating agency. There has to be a home monitoring device in place, which I believe will be in place tomorrow. And I think that there's a one thing on there, if you go on the computer and it says something about a hold that they haven't described, in other words, so somebody obviously has to find out what that hold is. It doesn't explain it when you look on the booking in the computer.
Have you had a chance to meet with Casey's parents?
I met with them yesterday.
What's your
last night
thought?
After the vigil.
What's your impression?
100% better than what I thought it would be. They're a very, very distraught family. They're just totally gut-wrenched. They have a lot of distrust for what's going on. My own personal opinion is that I think something that hasn't been emphasized enough. There's a $250,000 reward out there for the safe return of the little girl. I've said it this morning. I'm going to say it again here on your show. It's a situation where I'm not interested in the reward. If somebody
Leonard?
turns her loose at a grocery store, we're not interested in prosecuting or anything. That's law enforcement.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. When you were here on Friday night, you conveyed to me, at least if I have it right, that you believe that child is alive and can be found.
Yes.
At least, okay. A lot of people don't have that view. What is the basis or the support for that view? How do you arrive at that?
I arrive at it because there's no proof that the child is deceased. None whatsoever. If there was, believe me, law enforcement would have charged her mother or somebody with a homicide, manslaughter, something to that effect. But also, I look at her as a young lady that tells half-truths at times, and I believe that there's somebody out there that has that child that she allowed to babysit it, and then the child was not brought back for whatever reason. That's the way I'm looking at it.
All right, so basically you buy her version of the events, but what you agree is that she tells half-truths, which some people, frankly, might call lies.
That's correct.
Okay.
In the bounty hunting business, we call them half-truths because sometimes mixed into 1,000 lies or falsehoods, there's just one grain of truth, and you have to use that as a lead, as a jumping-off place to start your investigation to lead to something else.
All right, got it. So I hope you'll come back as well tomorrow night. Leonard, I just checked to see if Jose would come back. Jose Baez, I hope you'll come back as well. Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Now, if you're on the record live vote this evening, go to GretaWire.com and answer this simple question. If Casey Anthony makes bond, do you think she will try to flee? Yes or no? We'll read your results at the end of the hour. And coming up, you just heard from the bounty hunter. Now you will see what happened when the bounty hunter met with Casey Anthony.